Is weird, odd, strange, or just plain bizarre is really your cup of tea? Then, the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast will give you that fix. Can't believe it? Well, listen for yourself as we deliver the strangest news you definitely won't find on CNN or Fox. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the GSMC Weird News Podcast, brought to you by GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Staci.
And I'm your co-host, Sarah.
And we had talked about this previously off the air because it was just so very cute. But it's also quite amazing in that a mother duck has adopted at least 76 ducklings.
That's a lot of ducklings.
That is an amazing amount of ducklings. And like looking at the pictures, I'm like, it doesn't look that much, but then they actually went through and counted. I'm just like, what?
You know that saying, all your ducks in a row? This mama mama duck really has to keep her ducklings in a row.
Yes. And when I first heard this story, it of course made me think of that Anna Paquin movie, Fly Away Home, where she flies the geese. Are they? Yeah, I was about to say, I think they're geese. Oh man, I think she's only doing like 11 or 13 at that time, and that was troublesome. It's like 70. Good Lord, I cannot even imagine. But so this takes place at, I'm probably going to butcher this.
It's Bemidji, if that's what you were asking about.
Yes, yes.
I know this one.
Bravo. Thank you, person from that, general area of the country that I can't name anything for. So this is what Sarah said in Duluth, Minnesota. It's about 150 miles northwest. This is a lake and a nature photographer. Is that the term?
Probably.
I'm gonna go
somebody who takes takes photographs of nature. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, now you make me think of someone who like specifically kidnaps photographers who take photos of nature. Takes photographers.
That's a different weird news story.
Yes. Yes. This person, they had heard about this duck family, clan, dynasty.
Talk about a mixed family.
Whatever going on. And just went out randomly one day to try and take pictures, not even of this family. I think it was just going out, but happened to see them and took pictures. And at that point counted 50 something and then went back out later to try and take it and took other pictures and counted up to 76 in those photos. So there's possibly more, but I mean, you're counting little ducks in a picture.
Right. How do you, I mean, even if you were counting in a picture would be easier. I'm thinking trying to count them while they're waddling about.
Right. You have to herd them all in and then tag them or something. Yeah. So this is a
merganser.
I'm just going to let Sarah say all the words today.
My parents are bird people, so this is what I know too.
So this is what Sarah said. And this is actually somewhat typical for them in that those type of birds tend to have can you say this word? Creche? A creche, which is, I love that someone was like, it's like a daycare system. And then someone responded of like, man, that daycare system or public school system is clearly under budget.
That's right. The adult to child ratio in this daycare is not up to code.
Yes. So normally those tend to range from 20 to 50 ducklings, all following one of the birds that Sarah said that I won't even try, because the females will put their eggs into different nests to like try and better the chances of the babies surviving.
How does that better their chances of surviving exactly? I mean, because they just are such terrible parents. They're going to let somebody else.
Like, you have to, that relies on the nest you put it into also not being a terrible parent.
I mean, I guess if you diversify, maybe there are different threats in different areas, maybe you put the egg over there and it's not attacked by whatever is living on your side of the pond. I really don't know.
It's like putting it, I guess if you play roulette, I've never actually played roulette, putting it on different numbers. Can you even do that in roulette? Now I'm wondering. Clearly, I've never gambled.
I played roulette once, or I watched roulette being played once, but yeah, I think you can put it on different numbers. I could be completely wrong. That's
Hedging your
terrible.
bets, sort of. Yeah, that whole thing that I clearly am.
See, I was thinking not keeping your eggs all in one basket.
The exact opposite of that, yes. So this tends to happen, and the adult birds can't tell which birds are specifically their own, and the youngs are like, hey, that duck looks exactly like my mother. That must be my mother. And so they go off with it. But this also tends to happen in that this really is a sort of daycare system where once the birds are hatched, because nature people, biologists, some things are pretty sure that this one hen could not have, sat on 70 plus eggs and hatched them all.
She rotated, and there'd be many eggs always cold.
Just have like a stack, and that's a really amazing nest if you could do that. But that this actually where once the eggs are hatched, the adult birds will just sort of go off and molt, leaving all the babies with like the matriarch of this area, because they tend to be somewhat related to each other. Mm-hmm. So it's like if we go to a family reunion and then leave all the grandkids with grandma. And we're all going to go off and drink cocktails.
Grandma's like, come get these kids.
And it's just like, no. That's not what grandparents are for. They're to watch the kids for a small amount of time and then send them back with sugar.
Well, yes.
Isn't it?
That's what I hear, yeah.
Yeah. That's what my grandmother keeps doing. She tells us we should eat healthier, and then she gives us cookies. I'm just like, you're sending me mixed messages, Nana. I don't understand.
I love that you're an adult and she still sends you home sugared up.
Well, and it's so
awesome.
Because sometimes it's things that she has that she's like, oh, I don't need to eat. And I'm like, we need to eat. We need cookies. And then other times it's actually like, oh, I just have the urge. I saw this cake mix or whatever on sale in the grocery store, and so I bought it and made it. And yeah, I'm like, that's not helping.
That was my grandmother. I would go spend a week or two with her every summer, and after my grandfather died, and it would just be the two of us, she would make like 4 chicken breasts for lunch, and then expect me to eat 3 of them. She'd be like, "No, finish that up. It's just going to sit in the food. It's just going to sit in the refrigerator." I'm like, "Grandma, I can't eat 3 chicken breasts."
Yeah, I love grandmothers, but on the other hand, it's just like, are you trying to make me fat, or I don't understand here.
Grandma love. They love you with food.
Yes. So anyways.
Nothing to do with.
I mean, it kind of does chicken and ducks close enough.
Oh, I guess we were talking about chicken breasts, weren't we? Sure. It's a poultry. It's a poultry segment.
Grandmother knew ahead of time that we would be talking about this and was like, Sarah, here.
She's speaking to me from the beyond. So
with
sweet.
Food.
Yes.
That's how she shows her love.
She did. She really did. When after she died, we were talking about stories, just like remembering her, 90% of the stories involved food.
Oh,
she was
sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyways, the videos for this are quite interesting. There's a period where they're just sitting on the shore. Mm-hmm. And the mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, whatever this female duck is, matriarch, is not actually that big compared to the ducklings. So half the time I can't actually it's only because her head feathers are a little different that I can even notice her at all. Because in some of the pictures I'm like, I feel she must be in here somewhere. But it's like, where's Waldo? I'm not quite sure. And in this video, she's like in the center of the shot, but it takes me forever to notice. And then they all like scurry to the water for some reason. And the water just suddenly churns as they all start getting in and paddling. And I'm just like, I don't know what to make of this, but I kind of want to watch it over and over again. And I'm upset that this video clip is so short and not focus more on the churning water than anything else. Because I clearly like strange, fascinating things.
Clearly, whoever took this video was not thinking of Staci. Think of Staci, right. People.
Think of the Staci and the children. I was going to say think of the children, but the ducklings, and yeah.
Yeah. Think of the ducklings. Think of those of us who want to gaze at the ducklings and talk about how cute they are.
And now I'm thinking of a previous episode when we were talking about that giant catfish.
I know, that's what I was thinking of.
I'm just like, please don't let there be a giant catfish in this
When I saw
lake.
this video, and actually I saw it originally, we were together recording another show, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, and and you said we were going to talk about it on Weird News.
Yes.
But my first thought was, please don't let there be a giant catfish who will eat all 76 ducklings.
Because, I mean, that's like the, greatest version of whack-a-mole, but on a lake, is like that mother duck is never gonna, there is way too many targets there to be able to catch that catfish before it eats, a good third of those ducklings. Please don't let there be a giant duckling eating catfish.
Or just duckling eating anything. There's gonna be a duckling eating something, but
no, I care for the ducklings. Like, can you imagine her whole percentage would go down? You ate, 8 of 76, and I'm not even going to try and do the math for that. But just like, she's nearly
a little
to 100.
Over 10%.
Nearly to 100 to make that simple enough for me. Don't eat her ducklings. They're, her second grandson 3 times removed or something.
I feel like we should have a GoFundMe account for this mama duckling. She's got so many mouths to feed.
I do really wonder, like, how they actually eat. Because I don't actually know how ducklings eat, period. I'm now thinking of baby birds and feeding them by mouth, but I don't think ducklings do that.
I don't think so.
So there must be, clearly with 76, they, can eat themselves without having to be literally fed. Hopefully, or otherwise that poor matriarch must just be exhausted all the time. That is a literal never-ending job. You finish with the 76 one and the first one's hungry again.
Exactly. I was joking about the GoFundMe account, but the photographer who took the pictures said, if you love seeing these photos, please consider donating to the Audubon Society to help their mission. So, hey, if you love baby ducks, well, if you love ducks in general, or, birds in general,
yes,
not a bad suggestion.
Is the Audubon working on this giant clan specifically, or just in general?
Well, they let's see. I'm scrolling back up.
Is there
was just the guy Brent Sizek was he just apparently talking to the Audubon Society, which is featuring his work on their website.
Okay.
So
that's fitting.
Yeah.
So whatever, to protect all the large broods of ducklings around the country. That's clearly what the Audubon Society is for. Large broods of ducklings. That's like their mission statement.
Yes. I think I told you this off air. Maybe I said it during another show, but a couple of weeks ago, a friend of mine on social media said that she spent her morning rescuing ducks from a sewer grate that she'd driven by. And I was like, she's like, what did you do today? And I was like, not rescuing baby ducks from a sewer.
Just make me feel bad about myself. Goodness.
I just thought I would throw that out there before we reach the end of the segment.
Right. I spent my morning rescuing baby ducks. Top that. On that note, we're going to take a short break. Stay tuned.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts. Past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
Welcome back to the GSMC Weird News Podcast. We will be joined right now by a very special guest.
What kind of special?
That's such an easy pun. I won't.
Short bus special.
No, special. The glitter and unicorns and sprinkles special.
Ooh, sprinkles.
You see me and you think about glitter and unicorns. I'm feeling special. I like
See?
that.
Special.
Hello, everyone.
Yes. So if you don't recognize his voice, this is Tate, who hosts some other podcasts here on the GSMC Podcast Network.
So I host the MMA podcast, the Women's MMA podcast. I don't think I've ever done weird news.
I don't think you
football,
have.
College football. I've done pretty much everything dealing with sports.
You've done all the sports.
But never weird news. So this is like
Which
a new
is
experience. Crazy
because you're weird and you should be on weird news.
See, I was going to say, but I find sports to be really, really weird. So all your podcasts are weird news, technically. To me.
Stacy, yeah.
Yeah, to me.
Yep.
I can't trying to explain football to people is just what?
Seriously, we need him in here when you and I are like, yeah, so that sport is like, there's
soccer,
a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a ball.
And they score in the net thingy.
We were talking about the World Cup a while back and we couldn't remember if it was still going on.
We really couldn't.
Wow.
We thought so. I had to look it up.
And I'm sure the listeners were just screaming at us like, who are these idiots who don't know about the World Cup?
Wow.
But it wasn't a sports podcast, and we made sure we mentioned that it was not a sports podcast.
Several
Anywho.
times. Yes. So
we need weird hosts to host weird news.
That's
Yes.
why you asked us.
We should have just taken over. We should have held like a revolution. I mean, like, it's ours. I would probably hold a revolution for such a thing. But so anyways, moving on to our next story, which Tate is very excited about. I still won't touch that pun. An Egyptian zoo painted donkeys to look like zebras.
Yes. And okay, my first thought, because Tate actually told me about this story a few days ago, and I was like, I hope they used paint that wasn't harmful to the donkey. I was like, that's just, I felt bad for the donkey.
I'm going to give this zoo some props.
No.
I got to give them props. Because, first off, there are probably not a lot of donkeys running around Egypt. So they're like, just throw some paint on them. No one will know. Keep them at a distance away. No one can look real close to see that the paint is chipping off. They think they're seeing zebras.
I think there are donkeys in Egypt.
I think so
feel
too.
like they're used a lot for different things. At
Just
least in books that I've read,
things.
they're always using donkeys in Egypt. Now those are books, but still.
Now see, I don't know why this made me think of Little Drummer Boy for some reason.
Yes, that was my thought too.
So you thought Little Drummer Boy as well?
Or just
then.
like I was thinking Christmas.
Nestor, the long-eared donkey. Is that where we're going here?
See, that is quality research right there.
Yes, but no. So this is the Cairo International Garden Municipal Park. No actual zoo name in there, but it's technically a zoo, I guess.
Well, if they have animals.
That okay.
And there's something.
They are, of course, denying that they painted the donkey. But if you look at the picture of this, yeah, it looks at some point to me that, like, on the donkey's face, there's some sort of, like, pinkish paint smudge.
So how did Eeyore get paint on him?
He went and kicked a bucket and
It's
a different
just like
bucket.
it's just like Pepe Le Pew, you know. He went under the
Right.
fence and got the skunk stripe. Well, clearly this donkey went under something and got a whole bunch of stripes.
Yes. When I first heard of this, that was my thought, is like in cartoon as this happened, because that's the only way I could think of how you would do stripes on a donkey.
We've gone from Nestor, the long-eared Christmas donkey, to Pepe Le Pew. Yeah, okay, that's
Yeah.
weird.
I say it's ingenious though. If you give it a little enough distance away, a donkey and a zebra are very similar. Put a couple of racing stripes on them, but bam, you got it. You got a zebra.
Except that visitors very easily noticed that this was a donkey painted like a zebra, because donkeys have longer ears
They have
and
longer
different
ears
snouts.
and their faces. I'm looking at the pictures right now, and I maybe because I've been around donkeys, you know, but I can tell that the head shape is wrong.
Yes. And that it's a smaller, shorter animal. Yeah.
Yep, and the ears are too long. Yep.
The ears especially. I didn't know what zebra ears looked like until I saw the story, and zebra ears are smaller and cuter and rounder, and donkey's
They
ears
are
are donkey
rounder.
ears.
Yes. May I tell a zebra story? Oh, Tate, go ahead.
Hit me.
A zebra story.
I'm loving
Zebra story. Okay, so there is a wildlife preserve in Texas, and I'm blanking on the name. I apologize, Texans. And my aunt and I used to live in Texas with my aunt, and we drove through there one day. My aunt at the time had a white Saab convertible. So we drove through with the top down, and you can get these little cups of pellets that then the animals can walk right up to the car. Not the dangerous animals, but like there was a giraffe who just like stuck his head over the windshield. So the zebras came up, and they know that the cars come through and they will feed you. Well, we didn't have a cup of food, and they were very upset. And one of the zebras bit her spoiler.
Nice.
Bit the spoil. So until I was so sad.
Did he take a chunk out of it?
No, but I was so sad because when she sold that car, because it had zebra teeth marks, perfect teeth marks in the spoiler, in the paint.
Maybe it was like a dog where you hide the treat and it has to search. Maybe it's not you were hiding the pellets.
I think it was just mad. Oh, you don't feed me, I bite your car.
How many
like
people
something.
actually have a zebra story?
Yeah, no, I have no zebra story. I'm sorry.
I got nothing.
I do. Yay!
Sarah for the
finally
win.
I'm one of the cool kids.
Actually, I don't know why. I've actually been to the biking range with Sarah, and so it's all these buffalo coming.
You
around
don't know
the
why
car.
you've been there with me, or you don't know why.
I don't know why it made me.
Oh, it made you think
I
of that.
apologize. Why it made me think of that, but I pictured going to the bison reserve,
Which is in Montana, by
and
the way.
all the bison come around, and I'm picturing the bison like taking a bite out of a chunk of the car. So that's
Oh,
what
you
I
don't
was
want that to
picturing.
happen.
Yes.
You're terrifying me. See, this and that story we did about the cheetah leaping into the safari car makes me never want to go anywhere where you would actually be like, hey, look, the animals come up. Nope.
Well, a cheetah jumped in the car?
Yes, this was
Clearly didn't listen to that episode.
Many episodes ago on social media news, a man was taking a safari.
Oh, yeah, it was a social media.
And the cheetah jumped into the car, and it's on cell phone video, and he's, very trying not to move, no sudden movements, not looking at the cheetah as it sniffs around and chews on the seat, and then eventually leaves.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I got to jump in here. Cheetah jumps in the car, cancel Christmas. I am out.
But you can't, it's a cheetah. You can't outrun a cheetah.
Yeah, they're cheetah-like.
I'm sorry.
There are no doors on this Jeep for some reason.
But it seems like there's no windows because the cheetah.
There was no
No, it's one of
doors.
those open things because
It's a
they're on a
safari car.
safari. But usually those have like a,
Cage.
they'll have like a mesh cage over the top. This one
Was
I
a
am
doorless
hauling booty.
Jeep.
I'm hauling booty. I'm sorry. Cheetah jumps in.
Well, yeah.
Tate leaves.
But
Then
there were
he might
two
have been
cheetahs.
dead.
That's how the cheetah got in, is they were distracted by the one on the hood of the car.
So I feel like this poor painted donkey is not getting his proper.
He really
due
isn't.
because,
I feel very sorry.
First he got painted, and now we're ignoring him.
Well, and there were actually two donkeys that got painted.
Aw.
But we also completely ignored that second one. So this is all about the ignoring the painted donkeys. And this is not the first time this has happened, where zoos try to pass off not real animals as the animals they're talking about.
What
Did that
else?
happen in the U.S.?
Not that I know of in the U.S.,
Okay.
but a zoo in Gaza did paint two donkeys to look like zebras in 2009.
So it's specifically donkeys and zebras.
I
Wow.
told you, donkeys and zebras, they look similar to me.
They
Because
don't.
horses are too big, I guess.
And I just really want them to make sure they're using proper paint and not like.
Or a pony. Can't you paint a pony to look... And I'm not suggesting... Never mind.
Don't paint the animals, people.
But another zoo in Gaza put stuffed animals on display in 2012 because, nobody would notice the difference there.
And these aren't taxidermied animals, right? These are actual stuffed animals?
I think
toys?
I think they were
See,
toys.
this makes me think of the show Librarians. When it had the big... There's this big giant wolf on Librarians. And It was a total stuffed animal. And they tried to pass it off as a real
It was
wolf.
the worst special
No
effects
CGI.
ever.
It was just a giant wolf. I know I'm getting off the beaten path.
Wait, I
but
can't remember this episode.
It was in the first season.
Oh, well, that was a while ago.
For the record, I saw the giant stuffed wolf. I never watched the show again.
Well, this is not the TV podcast, so we can talk about that off the air.
Off air, yeah.
Offline also. Yes. But in 2013, a Chinese zoo in Henan province tried to pass off a Tibetan Mastiff dog as an African lion.
Oh, are they the ones that have like the sort of the big ruff
Yeah.
on their face?
Yes,
I mean,
so they've got the mane, but nothing else.
nothing else.
That's clearly a dog face and a very small
Right,
lion.
and I mean, people talk about how they look like they have a lion's mane, but they don't look like lions.
No, they really don't. Like, I'm now thinking of that commercial where they bring home the baby and the baby doesn't like the dog, so he buys the lion mane because that somehow makes it more likable to the baby as a scary lion in front of you.
That's a weird baby.
But I feel it feels like that of like, oh, this makes the dog more likable with the mane, so we'll pass it off as a lion because that's how that goes.
Yeah.
But another zoo in China in 2017 blew up plastic penguins and put them in the penguin pool.
See, I
Because
thought about
no
blowing
one
up as in, like,
would
boom.
notice.
That's
Yes.
how I understood. I was like, what?
That would actually probably
my
maybe
first-
please some visitors.
Yeah, my first thought was pyrotechnics, but then I read the notes. You don't have the notes in
I
front
don't
of you.
have the notes, so I thought I was expecting exploding penguins. Sorry.
Somehow that's not worse in my head. Blow up penguins versus exploding penguins. Exploding penguins actually better somehow.
Whoa.
Well,
No, I don't want to blow up penguins, but I mean for a zoo to like.
please address all letters to Stacy. Nothing to do with Tate.
Well, because then it's a real penguin, and these, like, some of these were pink. It's like, who's gonna believe that's a real penguin? That doesn't look anything like a real penguin. I wouldn't even want that in my pool. What idiots do you think are coming to your zoo?
Someone has never heard the phrase "the devil's in the details" then in that one.
That was just like the laziest.
It's China. They might have a different saying.
Well, probably, but that was still like the laziest sort of. Couldn't you go get the stuffed penguins? Like,
It wasn't lazy. They had to blow those up. They might not have had a pump of any kind. They had to blow them up.
maybe. Yeah, that's true. Some poor zoo worker did have to expend all their oxygen blowing up the black and pink penguins. So don't hate that specific zoo worker, but hate all the others. Hate whoever's idea was. But getting back to donkeys, because donkeys are so much fun, there is a tradition, this evidently, I guess, started in the south of France, to put donkeys in trousers. Because
Why?
France, That doesn't feel like a normal saying because France, you know?
Because France, no.
Because other places, but not because of France. So this is in the Ile-de-Ré, and it's because the donkeys often get bit on their legs by mosquitoes.
Oh.
So to protect them, they put them in trousers.
What about their front legs?
Those two.
Okay.
Also those. But this being France, these trousers are very fashionable because it's France. Because France. There. I've said it
What
again.
kind of fashionable? Like Burberry suit pants or?
Well, like the first one I saw is this like purple printed print fabric that I would actually like kind of want to put in like a jacket or something. I was just like, why does that donkey have on such nice pants? Which is a sentence I never thought I'd say.
Oh my gosh, the pictures are awesome.
Very fashionable donkeys, right?
See,
Do they not get bit other places? Because that's...
Do they have a shirt on at all?
No.
Just two pairs of trousers.
Then they're not even trousers because they don't you'd expect trousers to kind of go over their rears. But yeah, these they look like scarves except that they go around the legs, but then they come up over the back. So it looks like that's about the width. It looks like a scarf draped over their back and down their legs, but the legs are pants.
I think chaps is a good way. These are donkey chaps.
Yeah, donkey chaps. I don't even know.
I'm gonna leave this alone because I'm thinking totally bad here.
But they actually have taken now to doing this at the Donkey Sanctuary in Canada, which is just awesome that Canada has a donkey sanctuary. I need to go visit this place. But they made this for Ben because of all the donkeys there, Ben was the one that got bit for some reason the most.
Ben is extra tasty.
Or something.
Who's Ben?
Ben
the donkey
at the sanctuary.
At the Donkey Sanctuary in Canada.
You're saying it like everyone knows Ben
there
the
wasn't
donkey.
How do you not know Ben the donkey?
I can see that there wasn't really a segue there. She
Yeah,
just
I'm
kind of
like,
brought
what
up
the
Ben
heck is
as
the
though we'd been talking about him, but
You know Ben. But so anyway,
Tate.
gosh,
Okay, I was just making sure I didn't miss something. I'm
poor
sorry.
Ben. You're all insulting to Ben. Now I'm thinking of the Michael Jackson song. But anyways, so Ben was the favorite tortured target of the mosquitoes there or something. So one of the carers there made him a pair of trousers out of plaid material because if you're going to make trousers for donkeys, just go all in, I guess.
I'm digging it.
But I love the quote from this is that Ben has since been given a second pair of pants for when he gets tired of the plaid originals. Because, you gotta stay in season.
I wonder
Those are
how
so
he
last year.
expresses his tiredness of the plaid trousers.
Well, they said when he first got the trousers that he essentially strutted around and all the other donkeys were jealous. And I need to see this, a donkey strutting.
I love Ben the
I was gonna
donkey.
say, I don't know why what pops in my head is the camel saying hump day.
I don't know why either.
I don't
But
know.
also, that camel would probably have some fashionable trousers. So technically, he was at work naked just for hump day. That was probably his off day, and he was like, "It's hump day, gotta go in." We amazingly off. Wow. Yeah, we're going to take another short break.
Wait, I got one other thing.
Huh?
Because we were talking about zebras, and something popped in my head. An interesting fact about zebras.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so have you ever noticed that they don't use zebras for work animals?
They're too pretty.
You know, all the other animals that are related to horses
Mm-hmm.
are all related to. Are all beasts of burden.
Right.
But
He's
not,
told me this story, so I already
but
know the
not
answer.
Zebras. Do you know why?
I'm still going with they're too pretty.
No.
What, they're like the fashionable Porsches of horses.
This is the reason why. You can teach a donkey to plow a field just like you can a horse.
Uh-huh.
And you can teach him. You can teach a zebra to do everything that a horse or a donkey could do. The only problem is you have to do it every single day. When you teach them to do it, if let's say it rains that day,
Mm-hmm.
and you leave the zebra in the barn,
Mm-hmm.
he will forget how to do it. And you have to train everything all over again. His long-term memory is not the same, and so
Wow.
he won't remember how to plow a field or to do any of it. So that's why they don't use them.
So it's the zebra is essentially the Guy Pearce from Memento of horses. We did Memento a few episodes on the movie podcast, and now that's in my head as you describe that. You need to give Polaroids to the zebra and write notes on it so it can remember.
But no tattoos.
No, well, yeah. How could you tell with the stripes?
Now, see, I think of 50 First Dates.
Yes,
that's
that
what
too.
I think of when I think of the zebra. See, I didn't know what you were talking about over there.
Different movie, yeah. But
Yes, but both dealing with
short-term memory issues.
Yes.
Yep.
Interesting facts with Tate.
Yes. Really weird, interesting facts with Tate.
For weird news.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to take a short break. Stay tuned.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC, Invicta FC, Bellator, and one championship. We got the fights covered. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts. Past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
Welcome back to the GSMC Weird News Podcast. Our final story, sort of fitting for Tate, who does host a number of sports podcasts.
Hello.
In that a London sports team wants to sign a dog.
Oh, to actually play and not just be a mascot?
It's not an Air Bud film, so...
Okay, I'm like pausing here. I'm like, I got to hear the rest of this before I even make a comment.
No, it's not. Although when I first heard it, I was like, please don't be a real life Air Bud film because there are too many of those and that went off the tracks. So this is, I'm going to pronounce it Leighton Orient. And they want a male dog specifically to be walked around the ground at the Briar Group Stadium to ward off foxes. Because something about
they
scent
want him to pee
and
on stuff.
I think, yeah, or just leave. Well, I mean, I guess you can't do that without.
I mean,
peeing.
that's pretty much how you mark your Interesting.
See,
Yes.
that's not so crazy.
No,
Because it's kind of like you put, you hire you hire someone to bring like hawks or an owl to a place to chase away pigeons. And there's all kind of sporting events where animals will come on the field, and if the area is kind of infested with animals, different, rabbits and whatever, having a pet fox around chases everyone away. I'm all.
It's
for
not
it.
a pet fox. It's to ward off the foxes.
Okay.
We dislike the foxes.
So
Well,
they're
they want
doing
a dog.
A dog. To
Yes.
chase away the fox.
Which
Although-
is nicer than just like killing the foxes.
Yeah, but I mean, this story doesn't sound weird to me if you had, prefaced it by saying in 1862 or something, because it just felt I don't know, something about dogs and foxes, and my brain went off with hunting. But it's like, we are in 2018. There isn't any other way to keep the foxes off the grounds than having a dog go pee around.
Well, I mean, I know people right now who have the male members of their family go pee around their garden because they're carnivores and it helps keep the deer away.
Wow.
That happens in Montana, folks.
Okay.
Not even lying to you.
I've never heard of anyone doing that here.
Now, I know this from, I grew up in Ohio in a little country area, and we had, as Sarah gives me a mean, evil look, because she thinks I didn't grow up in a small town, because I grew up in a small town.
We used to argue about what small town was.
Sarah just kind of automatically wins because Montana.
No, she does win, because my town had 30,000 people. Her town has 500.
1,000.
Listen, you can't count the statues and the prairie dogs.
There are no statues.
There aren't enough people for statues.
And we don't have prairie dogs.
You killed them all.
We're just in the wrong part of the state. Jeez, Stacy.
I've never been to Montana.
It is amazing and empty, all at the same time. Amazingly empty.
Anywho, Ohio,
Ohio.
where Tate grew up.
O-H-I to the O. Okay. In Ohio, my parents had chickens and they had, other animals. And so one of the things you do, because you have to worry about foxes and raccoons and things like that, is if you have hunting dogs and you put the hunting dogs beside the chicken coop, the dogs bark, and animals like foxes and raccoons will completely stay away and won't attack your chickens.
That makes sense.
It does. Yeah.
Hence the reason why dogs chasing away fox makes for a good sporting event.
And also for a lovely movie from Disney.
I was just going to say that. And you make me sad at the end because they can't
they can't be together.
Disney movies aren't supposed to make me cry. That's a Pixar thing. What the heck?
Well, it was before Pixar.
It really was.
Pixar makes you cry, but Disney's not allowed to?
Did you not see Up?
He did.
I did see Up.
I was
but I can't remember Up, except for they were in a house with balloons.
Well, the very beginning tells the whole story of the relationship with his wife, and it's just this very, very sweet kind of vignette at the beginning where it shows them from childhood until she dies.
I'm going to go on record. If you did not cry at the beginning of Up, I think you need to go to your doctor and make sure your heart is not made out of stone.
Or two sizes too small.
I'm sorry, mine is granted. Mine, I did not even remotely get a little sad. I think I was eating pizza at the time.
Wow.
I'm going to pretend that Tate got to the theater late and he missed that part.
Yeah, we started with the little boy. That's all Tate saw. He has no idea about the wife.
Okay, and I have to say something about this show. I've never done the weird news show, and I'm so used to sports, and sports is so on topic. Where, Conor McGregor, he's going to be fighting Khabib, and this is what's going to happen, and this is what's the lead in here, this and that. Here it's like Pixar.
Did you know that Khabib trains by fighting bears? That's where we would
Yeah. I'm not even sure that's so much about weird news as it is me and Sarah. Because we do that on numerous podcasts.
Staci and Sarah don't know how to segue properly.
We really don't.
Because I'm thinking this is the weird show, not the weird news show.
It's weird. We talk about things that were in the new that are new to us. We talk about new weird stuff to us.
I think this show could be called a spinoff. Because every topic spins off to a new topic.
It does.
Or tangential.
Start with the news story and then...
Yes.
I like it.
Talk about grandmothers and Montana and Disney
Ohio.
movies. Yes.
It keeps you on your toes. It's very cool. Different in my world.
Yes, very different from your world.
Glad to hear it. On that note, we're going to end for today. Thank you, Tate, for joining us.
Thanks, Tate.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, ladies, for having me.
And thank you for listening to the GSMC Weird News Podcast. We'll see you next time.